Good afternoon, everyone. It is Monday and it is right around 12 noon. So, welcome to Monday afternoon. It is Jennifer Tim here from the Welcome Home Global Group. Just reminding you that this is an important week. Don't forget to celebrate the important loved ones in your life. So, just a reminder for Valentine's before we get started. And let's get right on with today's show. Okay, so Monday market update, February 13th. Oh my gosh, we're almost at the middle of February already. And, our real estate roller coaster ride is still a roller coaster ride. So let's really get into that today. So as I say, I'm Jennifer Tim. I am the owner of the Welcome Home Global Group, powered by Keller Williams Realty. And we believe that as real estate planners, our job is to make sure that you are fully aware of what's going on in the market, empowered with the right information to make the right decisions that benefits you and your family. So one of the questions that I think is really worth answering this week is, are mortgage rates trending up? Or are they trending down? And I wish there was a simple answer, but let's see what has been going on nationally. Then we'll have a look at Southern California as a whole, and then we'll narrow it down into what's happening in 4 of our cities. Okay, so the big news that we heard, and we talked about this a little bit already, is that the jobs report came back and it said that basically we have gained 517,000 jobs in January. Now, this was not necessarily the news that the Feds were hoping for, but that's the reality. Now, you're probably wondering, why do we even care about this? Well, jobs in the market means that there's opportunities for people to earn money. That directly impacts people's ability. Obviously, if you've got a job, it's a lot easier to pay a mortgage payment than if you don't have one. So for us, the fact that there's so many jobs out there is a positive, in that we know that there's opportunities for folks to maybe move and take advantage of new opportunities around the corner. But now, how did the market respond to that? Now, again, remember, the Feds have been trying to increase everything, all the rates, to break a little bit of those jobs numbers, to kind of break everybody down a little bit before we can, and that's in the attempts to break inflation. Now, the 10-year Treasury is a really important entity that we follow, because when the 10-year Treasury goes up, mortgage rates go up. For the Fed rate increases, for the most part, they baked into everything that's happening already. However, it was the combination of that jobs report that came out and the Fed's kind of saying, well, and we know that the intent was to increase by another 0.25% coming up. But now they're alluding to the possibility that they may need to do more. And what that more is, of course, we're going to wait to see. So that made the stock market very nervous. That made just basically everything kind of go, okay, well, that's great news to hear about all those job opportunities. And, listening to all the experts out there, they say that there are 2 jobs for anybody who's unemployed at the moment. And we know unemployment is hovering around about 3.4%. 10-year Treasury. So 10-year Treasury, as I said, really, when that moves, interest rates moves. So as you can see over here, we are seeing a lot of volatility. Now, if there's volatility in the 10-year Treasury, we're going to see volatility in the mortgage rates. So we were down. This is where we were just recently, where we kind of went closer, and actually went below the 3.5%. Well, last week, as a result of the news that came out with the jobs report, we jumped up. We saw that the Fed, the 10-year Treasury went up. As a result, we know that mortgage rates went up. So this was a snapshot from Thursday, and we jumped. And as we celebrated last week that we went into the 5.99% for our interest rate. We actually dipped down into the fives. And then, of course, we saw the buyers back in the market as soon as that happened. Well, Thursday, we were up to 6.39%. And the last time we were there is November 2008. And then on Friday, so these are different sources that I get this information from, we were sitting at 6.45%. So when that 10-year treasury went up, mortgage rates went up accordingly. Just interesting on the left-hand side to see the metropolitan areas with the highest inflation in 2022. And as this little insert here says, cities with the highest job growth and housing demand suffered the highest inflation rates. So that's kind of where we are. And there's that National Consumer Price Index sitting at 6.5%, and that's what the feds are throwing every tool in their toolbox at this to try and drop that interest, the inflation rate lower. So what did we see as far as inventory? So we know that the mortgage rates are kind of, you know, a little bit like this, and hopefully things are going to settle. And, you know, I was listening to an expert this morning. I catch up with all the experts, the economists in the field. I catch up with them on a Sunday and first thing on Monday morning, so I can bring you the latest, greatest information. And one of those it's Monday, economists is saying that, you know, they still believe that we're going to dip below 5%. Well, I'm not going to go there. Let's just say if we could just get a little bit of stability and have that stability in the fives, we'll be so much further along the road for, you know, our buyers and sellers out there to have a little more stability and help them with their plans. Okay, so inventory. What happened with the inventory? So we have started off 2023, and as typically happens, as you can see, every single year, these are the different years. You can see the color key up at the top. So we are in the bright red right now. We are going down. So that means that available homes in the market are decreasing. Not unusual for this time of the year, because typically what happens is there's some inventories that's lagged on the market over the holiday period. You get to the middle, the end of January, the buyers are coming back in and they're starting to go into escrow or under contract. And that's a lot of what we're seeing. But it looks like, just like we've seen in the past couple of years, supply is going to decline through February. So if you are a seller, this means that this is a great time to go onto the market because the buyer demand is there. And then with every seller that goes onto the market, that seller becomes a buyer. So that helps us with our buyer demand as well. So pending contracts per week, I love this chart because I love that right over here on the right-hand side, we can see in the light pink is the properties that have gone into escrow. And then the burgundy is those that are, you know, the properties that are on the market. And sorry, the ones that are already, and the pink is the new ones. So we can see that we've had a 12% increase in 2 weeks. And just some anecdotal information, I will share with you that we put a property live on Friday. Well, I mean, my phone's busy ringing again. I have had probably 30 requests for showings on this property. We already have 2 offers, and it only went live on Friday. None of the offers are below the asking price. So buyers are back. There's sweet spots for sure in pricing. And, you know, we've made sure that our sellers are priced right where they need to be for today's market. And yeah, there's a very good chance that by the weekend, this property will be in escrow. And then it's going to be another one of those that just adds the percentage. So yes, we're definitely seeing that buyers are back and shopping. Percent of properties with recent price reductions. You know, there's definitely fewer and fewer happening. The norm is 33% will see a price reduction. Now that our days on market is getting less and less because, and this is related to demand, because this is where our inventory is sitting, this is where the demand is. So these properties are going into escrow a lot faster. And so they don't have to have a price reduction. And if they're priced correctly for today's market, based on location and condition, those properties are going to find a buyer and typically have multiple offers within a very short period of time. And we're going to look specifically in Southern California towards the second half of our presentation and show you what that looks like right now. Home prices down from peaks in almost most markets. So this was based in December. So remember, December was, it's one of our lowest activity months. And then there's January. So though it's really kind of at the lowest of the low from the highest of the highest peaks. So that's just an interesting graphic to show you how, again, the markets where we have the most volatility obviously are going to see the highest gains in prices and then the greatest drop in prices. Now, despite seeing these for California, so, we've got minus 13%, minus 8%, minus 10%. Keep in mind that the appreciation over the past 3 years has been so great and unusual that is not a reflection. There's, even with these price reductions, we are nowhere close to where we were before the pandemic started. So we are still at an elevated list price if we have a look at that information. Our closed sales and the percent of original to list price. So it's always, this is just and again, these are national numbers. So if you're able to sell within the first 30 days, there's a higher chance that you are priced correctly and you are going to get the price that you listed. Again, so these are national numbers. Next week, I'll show you the Southern California, and we'll look at some cities in particular. In most of the cities in Southern California, we are still seeing that list to sold is about 98%. So it's really close. We are starting to see a couple of pockets where it's going over 100%. So that means that there's been a bidding war and the sellers are getting a little more than what they listed for. And, the caution there for sellers is, don't be tempted to do what was happening during 2020 and 2021 and even 2022, where, you would just kind of automatically say, well, my neighbor's house sold for 100,000 over, what they listed for. So I'm just going to start there. So this is not the same situation as we were in there, because interest rates are nowhere close to where they were at that point in time. Again, remember, during COVID, there were interest rates of 2.5%. Spoke to some buyers over the weekend who were talking about that. And then somebody else who's a seller who also said the same thing. A different market that we're in now. That was an extreme outlier type situation. But this just shows you, the longer that your property stays on the market, you can see what happens. You're going to have to do multiple price reductions. So pricing correctly upfront is going to get you much closer to your desired outcome. Otherwise, you're basically, you're going to lose out, because it's just going to be a red tag for buyers when they see that the property's been rejected by so many buyers for so many days. So federal, on the Fed side, so this is the concern, and this is that uncertainty on that federal level. So in a speech on Tuesday, Fed Chair Powell emphasized that due to the exceptional strength of the labor market, bringing down inflation may take longer and require more rate hikes than many investors have been anticipating. Referring to the job gains in the latest employment report that blew away even the highest forecasts of economists, he said it shows why returning inflation to the Fed's annual target rate of 2% may be a process that takes a significant period of time. He also repeated that monetary policy will be determined by incoming data, suggesting that the amount of tightening could be adjusted in either direction from the current outlook based on future economic reports. So that was my point, that there's that volatility in the market. So to answer that question of, are rates trending higher or lower, so much is going to depend on what the feds are saying and then what they implement. And then we see how the 10-year treasury responds. And that really determines where the interest rates are. For us to have a healthier market where we have more homes on the market, we're going to have lower interest rates. Because again, remember, a lot of sellers, are having a hard time thinking about selling and then becoming a buyer in a higher interest rate market. To continue with that, investors will be closely watching to see if Fed officials elaborate on their plans for future rate hikes. And the most anticipated economic report of the week, the Consumer Price Index, will be released on Tuesday, so Valentine's Day. Joy. CPI is a widely followed monthly inflation indicator that looks at the price changes for a broad range of goods and services. And then retail sales come out on Wednesday. So once we see what that report tells us, then we'll get a response from the Fed. But just anticipate that there is going to be some volatility in the market until there just isn't. So it's quite a roller coaster ride that we're on. So what is this? How is this translating into Southern California? Well, some great news is that some of our lenders are able to weather the storm of uncertainty, and they're still able to offer some fantastic rates. So this is one of them. My second lender, you'll see the next slide is blank. They never got me that update in time for today's report. But as you can see, Jumbo 30-year fixed 5.25%. So forget about the 6% out there. And again, this is for a discount point. And your APR is going to be 5.367. So again, re-emphasize how important it is to partner. Number one, shop around and then partner with a lender who has the right product for you and your situation. And it is absolutely essential. We actually have in our newsletter coming out this Wednesday, we will have a report in there about increased mortgage fees, so funding fees that are being implemented. So if home buying is what you're considering this year, the sooner you have these conversations and understand how much it's going to cost you to actually take out a mortgage, the better. And one of the steps that you need to do is figure out what is your lending credit score. So really, forget about some of the online sites out there. You really need to work with a lender who can do a soft pull on your credit to understand and help you understand, where you are positioned and what you're going to qualify for. Because the lower your credit score, the more it's going to cost you to take out that loan. And so it's really important, and we can make sure that you are connected with the right lenders. So my second lender, as I say, and it's been a crazy weekend, I did not have a chance to get that from them. So taking this down a little further, just that reminder, when we think about why sellers are not putting their homes on the market, this is the reason. 89% of Californian homeowners have an interest rate currently of 5% or lower, 71% have 4% or lower, and 29% have 3% or lower. We're one of those below 3%. And so you definitely think about that. Well, if we sold this house, had to take out a new mortgage, we'd be looking at almost twice that rate, depending on which lender we went with, our credit scores, et cetera, et cetera. So that is the big reason why we look all the way up to the feds. We talk about what's happening in the economy. We follow the 10-year treasury. Then we see how Fannie and Freddie Mac, gosh, I'm trying to combine them into one. Yeah, I think we're going to have to come up with something for that. How that responds, because then that's how our local loan originators can actually structure their products. So it's very important for us to track everything from the federal level and then know what's happening right here in our own area. Inventory in Southern California, we looked at this before. We are way, way below where we are typically. So our demand is growing, and it is basically soaking up any properties that are left on the market. Case in point, our new listing over the weekend. I mean, we had an offer sight unseen in less than 24 hours. And since then, it has been absolutely nonstop. And of the 7 scheduled showings we had over the weekend, we're expecting to get a total of 5 of those buyers who are submitting offers. And we haven't finished yet. You know, we're not ready. We've got 1 more showing day scheduled. So the buyers are back, and the same message from everyone was basically that there's just nothing out there. So when something good hits the market, boy, oh boy, those buyers are there, and it's what do we need to do to win this? Now, thank goodness that's not my decision, that's my seller's decision, but we make sure that the buyers have all their ducks in a row and all the paperwork, and you know, we've got it all squared away. So new for sale signs, 3-year average pre-COVID, and again, this is Orange County or Southern California as a whole. Basically, if we look at January, we're short 32% of listings compared to that pre-COVID. And that's a lot of homes. I mean, you kind of look at, you know, we've got 2020, 2021. And so that's another important thing to remember, is that we had low inventory before COVID even hit. And we were dealing with the fact that demand was outpacing the available inventory then. COVID came in and just totally, I mean, totally created, exacerbated that issue. And that's where we are now. So looking specifically at Orange County in 2022, we were short 22%. Now in January of this year, we're short 45%. That's a lot of homes that we're missing. And that's why that little dot is so far below the other years out there. So if we have a look at our inventory, you can kind of see this is where we are. This is, you know, like we're right over here, and we need more homes on the market to meet the demand of the buyers. If that doesn't happen, then you know, I had somebody ask me over the weekend, actually yesterday morning, I was with a group of folks, and they were asking me about the market crashing, prices crashing. It's like, it cannot happen because it's supply and demand. We don't have enough supply. That demand is just going to keep beating at that ever diminishing inventory, and it's going to keep those prices elevated. There's no way that they can come down when the demand is so high. So active listing inventory year over year. So this is basically where we're sitting. This is the blue line. And yeah, we're still short. Just kind of looking at February, we're short already in February. We started January below, and February we're still below. So we're still short homes. Demand. So as I mentioned, demand is there. As soon as those interest rates, and that's that point over here, when they started coming down, once we got past our craziness of being over 7%, and then we started seeing the slowly decreasing interest rates, that's when the buyers were back. And it was the timing of halfway through January, towards the end of January, when everyone's got over the holidays, they've paid off their credit cards, hopefully, they've packed all the gifts away, kids are safely back at school. And then that's when the buyers are back and they're out there. So there's been a sharp incline, and that always happens. So as you can see from these prior years, we always have a big jump. You know, when the green line was when COVID hit us and everything just came to a screeching halt, we're not going to see, well, we shouldn't see that. Hopefully we're never going to see that again. But we are starting to see that demand is ever increasing. So sellers, the buyers are out there, and they need some choices. There aren't enough choices out there right now. What is happening with the expected market time? Again, you know, we've got folks who are waiting for the buyer's market. Well, a buyer's market is if a property, you know, the average is 120 to 150 days that a property is on the market before it enters into escrow. And you know what? We're not at that point. So if we look at 120, it's right over here. You know, we haven't seen a buyer's market since, and if we go down here, you can see that was 2018 we had a little foray into a buyer's market, but we're not there. We're definitely nowhere close to a buyer's market. And if we look at where we are currently in Southern California, 60 days, and we've basically gone from we just keep decreasing all the time. Every time I see this report, we're taking this nosedive down with our days on market. And again, what does that mean? It means that the demand is there. The buyers are finding what they feel is an acceptable deal for them. Buyers always want to pay less than a seller wants them to pay, and sellers always want a buyer to pay more. So, this is where the meeting of buyers and sellers is happening, and our days on market is already down. 3-year average is 75, and of course last year, which was totally insane, was 26 days, but that's because we had those interest rates in the threes. We now have interest rates 5-6%, and we're still seeing this decrease on the days on market. So expected market time, this is sort of what we anticipate. We're just going to get to the point where the only things left on the market, unless we get more inventory on the market, is going to be properties that aren't desirable for buyers, and those are going to sit. But we're going to be in the seller's market for sure. We are in one. We anticipate we're going to stay there. And I love this, and this is from Stephen Thomas. For Orange County, we started out mid-January, 81 days on the market, and we have dropped 32 days. So that's a month. The properties are going into escrow a month faster than they were in January. So we're down to 49 days. And as I say, if I look at our property, we could have accepted an offer on Saturday and been in escrow in 24 hours. The sellers have made a decision to do these 2 showing days. So we had Sunday, we're doing Wednesday afternoon, and then they will make a decision on Thursday. And I anticipate that we will be opening escrow, by Friday or the following Monday. So that's just over a week. That's how fast things are going. Excuse me, looking at some of our cities. So what is going on in Dana Point? So Dana Point, we're seeing, our median list price, 3.3 million. New listings coming on just below that. That's a good thing. Our median days on market, 63. So again, slightly higher price point. So you're going to see that slightly faster time. But that's still a phenomenal time for the price of properties. Those that are languishing are definitely seeing price decreases. We're not really seeing price increases. And our inventory is sitting at 43, and that's ever so slightly increased. Now, part of that is because the properties that are coming on the market are just a little bit higher than that sweet point for Orange County. So, your buyer pool, your buyers who can afford that kind of home, it's, that's a smaller pool. But we are still in a seller's market in Dana Point. Laguna Beach, again, median list price, 4 million. New listings coming on are 5.5 million. So our median days on market, despite that, now again, Laguna Beach has higher priced properties overall. It's got gorgeous views. Just beautiful environment to be in. Median days on market, 98, and that has gone down. Your inventory is sitting at 72, and it's ever so slightly increased. But again, when you look at the properties and the average price or the median prices of those new listings sitting at 5.5 million, that's understandable. But still a seller's market. There's absolutely, seller's market. Bottom line, that's where we are. San Clemente, median list price of 1.9, new listings coming on at 1.7. Our median days on market is 84. We're still seeing some price decreases. We're even seeing a few price increases, and our inventory just continues this downward trend. So it's sitting at 59. And yeah, the inventory in San Clemente, the buyers like that price point, and they may forego buying something in Laguna Beach or Dana Point with the higher prices there, and are coming to San Clemente and purchasing the properties pretty quickly as they come onto the market, because those price points are a lot more affordable to a larger pool. But still a seller's market. San Juan Capistrano, median list price 1.9. New listings coming on at 2.4 million. We've got median days on market 35 days. So that is our hottest, and it has been throughout the last couple of months. San Juan Capistrano continues to be our hottest market. 35 days, it's just over a month. You put your property on the market, it's going to go into escrow. Price decreases, yes, because there are some very much higher priced properties in San Juan. It's typically those are seeing a price decrease because our luxury, higher end luxury, is definitely not performing as fast as your more affordable homes are. And we've got our inventory sitting at 33, and that has decreased as well. So we have a strong seller's market in San Juan Capistrano as well. So just to recap, are mortgage rates trending up or down? We know for a healthier market, we need those interest rates to be trending down slightly. Do we anticipate that they're going to go super low? Absolutely not. We do not have the right environment, and the feds are going to do everything in their power and every tool in their toolbox to make sure we do not end up with those 2-3%. To the lender to the economist who said he still thinks 4.75% is going to be where we'll end up. I sincerely hope so, but that would probably only be towards the end of the year. Feds are hinting about new Fed increases. We're just going to have to see whether the 10-year Treasury has already absorbed those and the mortgage industry has absorbed those already, or whether that is then going to result on the 10-year Treasury increases and then mortgage rates will increase as well. We certainly hope that that's not the case. So just as a reminder, as real estate planners, we are here to help you build and transfer your wealth through real estate. And we're really passionate about doing that. We will help you with the current portfolio analysis, help you really understand what's happening in the market in your particular neighborhood and how it's impacting your home, and really talk about those interest rates. We'll do an equity analysis. We can help you with a capital gains tax assessment from a real estate point of view. And then, of course, we always advise you to speak to your financial advisor. Asset performance test. This is one of my favorite things to do, because we're going to have a look at your investment properties and really help you understand if they are performing the way they could and should in today's market. And down at the bottom, the one that has the most impact for families is the Family Feud Prevention Plan. Have you made sure that whatever you're planning on leaving to your beneficiaries, that it's not going to end up in the court system because it wasn't really well thought out? Because just keep in mind, if you've got 2 beneficiaries and you've got 3 properties, it's kind of hard to divide them. And let me tell you, their beneficiaries, whether they're your kids or whoever it is, they will never, ever agree on what should happen. And unfortunately, we know of so many families whose beneficiaries have ended up spending a fortune in the courts trying to get this resolved, rather than the originators, those wonderful people who planned and had this generational wealth plan, didn't quite understand what was going to happen later on. And of course, so we are absolutely here to assist you. Please feel free to reach out with any questions. I will not be doing a market update next Monday. We will be in Anaheim for a 5-day conference. I don't know, I've lost track of how many days we're going to be there. And we will be getting the latest, greatest information on what's happening in the real estate market nationally, and because it is Keller Williams Family Reunion in Anaheim. And this is just our opportunity to really network and grow and hone our skills so that we can better support you. And a big part of that, I've already got an appointment set up with some other real estate planners, and we are absolutely honing our craft and our skills to make sure that we can help you through a very interesting year in real estate. And with that, I'm going to say happy Valentine's Day to everyone. I hope that your day tomorrow is just filled with love and joy, and that you find a way so that you can help others have a wonderful, loveful day. So goodbye, and I will see you in 2 weeks' time with tons of great information. And look out for our newsletter on Wednesday, very important for buyers so that you're aware of what's happening with the mortgage fees. And yeah, if you're not a subscriber, just reach out and we will get you on that list. Bye.